Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be taking a look at Kingdom 8, giving you a state of affairs rundown. What's the current landscape? Is there fighting? Is it peaceful? How are they looking? Has any drama ensued? A little bit of a history on kind of how the kingdom started out from a few people that I've reached out to that were kind enough to give me some feedback. And then also, I know some of you, I know people have always been asking from this group, because most likely Kingdom 5 through 8 is going to be the next merge server that will most likely end up being SS1-2. And that's still about 3 to 3.5 weeks away. So once we get a little bit closer, then I'll do another merged. I'll do kind of a right before merge top stats of how those four kingdoms are looking going into their merged server. So before we get started, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell, and if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description right down below. All right, let's get a swig. So much better. Okay, so let's first start off with just kind of giving you the numbers game here for Kingdom 8, and then we're going to go into a little bit of history, and then just tell you what's actually happening now. So if and we'll just kind of keep it saucy here, we'll just zoom in a little bit enough, right, so we can see some rankings. So this is how some of the personal power ranks look currently, right? You got Crazy Canuck up top, right? Nice spread here from 1 to 2. You're looking at, what, 6, 9, 9.4, 9.3 mil between 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are in the same alliance. Then you got 14, right, OSM Sexy, and then a bunch of NVRS. Right, you basically have 6 out of the top 8. That's NVRS. 7 out of the top 9. Or sorry, what is that? 7 out of the top 10 there. Right, and then you got some OSM, some variants there. And again, even from if you just look at personal merits, there really hasn't been a lot of fighting. I mean, these are not that high of merit points currently for Zone 3 opening. And even if I scroll even farther down, I mean, look, once you get to like the 20s and 30s, it's 100K and less, right? This is pretty indicative of there not being a plethora, right, of fighting. And then we look at, let's look at Alliance Power. So to kind of give you an idea on how that looks, right? So you have 761 mil, almost 762 for NVRS, Nevermore. That's one. And then we have SOF, Soldiers of Fortune, 534, almost 535 mil. We got Sexy, keep it bringing it back. Hey. 392, almost 393 mil. VAL Valhalla, 280, right? So, I mean, again, you know, 1 has a nice separation from 2. You're looking at, what, 230, 227, 228 mil. And then from 2 to 3, you're looking at, what is that, 108, 138 to 142 mil. So again, right, decent. Then even if you just look, and then obviously once you get to 4, right, then the numbers 4, 5 is pretty close. So we'll have to see how that plays out as far as if there's going to be more separation. Will it get a little bit closer as far as balance-wise? And then let's look at merits. These are the merits that we're seeing right now for the alliances. And again, even though, yeah, there's obviously some decent merits here, it's not that high overall, right? I mean, you pretty much have the top 4 that were more engaged in some form of PvP. 2, swear to God, I got good sleep. And then you have the number 1 alliance breaking out a little bit from number 2 and 3, right at a little more than double that. But this isn't too high from what we usually see that would indicate, you know, a just kind of full-on kind of civil war, kingdom wars that are happening constantly. So again, right, the merits are lower, which I think also leans, or I should say does tend to lean more to kind of a peaceful development-based kingdom. And again, right, if they're doing organized PvP or other things like that, that can obviously also increase it. So sometimes alliance merits will not always be the biggest indicator of, okay, hey, is the kingdom at peace or not? We can obviously look at what's happening, and it doesn't seem like there's any fighting currently going on. So now let's get to the next piece here, which is, what's the history, right? What has actually been happening? So I reached out to a few people in DMs, and I had started a few people that reached out and just kind of wanted to give me some information. So I'm just going to read some of these that I ended up getting. A player from Val says, it seems that all the alliance leaders are in peace with each other. Currently, NVRS gatherers are recruited most of the pay-to-win players here. OSM and Sexy are in good terms. FL5 or the Silverlands, composed of mostly free-to-play players and minimum spenders. These three alliances, killing it right now, already conquered past 3. Meanwhile, the Val, formerly the Flyleaf Cafe, I remember them, struggled to gather enough players to do their pass. It seems that hate on Thomas Shelby becomes the obstacle for them since they're lost in with NVRS. PAE, their leader, also abandoned the server. They lost track, and most of the strong members left to go to NVRS, OSM, Sexy. Okay, so that maybe could account for some of the alliance power distribution that we're seeing. And then it's Crazy Canuck and Thomas Shelby are not on good terms. They are in the same team, the boss, but they disbanded. Don't know the whole story. Okay, so that's one. We got Stronger from SOF. I had asked here, right, and I think he said there's permanent peace here, right? So again, someone else. This is also why it's good to ask multiple players from different alliances, and. Nice, that felt good. And the reason I say that is because if you were just to simply ask the top players and the top players were consolidated into 1 or 2 alliances, you might get similar answers. Even if I only ask players in one alliance. So I like to try and ask if I'm going into a kingdom and it's not clear on what's happening. I like to go out and I'll ask, 2 to 3 players from each of the top alliances in varied positions. So it doesn't matter to me. It's just I find that there's a higher chance I'll get more accurate, kind of objective views on what's happening. So I appreciate anyone, obviously, who's willing to give me some feedback. And then, right, so Permanent Peace, he said there was a problem at the beginning of the game, but thanks to the pioneering troops, the war ended when it started. When the game started, the Boss Alliance, and that was something that I think Hizzy ended up referring to in a moment. So Great Alliance tried hard to start the war and took many Boss players under their protection with the NVRS and OSM Alliance agreement. After the Boss Union, it merged with FL8 Alliance, which is the 3rd largest alliance, and they left before long. So, let's give a little pounded here. And then I asked Thomas Shelby. This was someone as well who was, from what some people had said, right, an instigator, if that is true or not. Again, because I wasn't here, I can only go off of the conjecture, or my conjecture, right, from what we're hearing. So Thomas Shelby said, mostly fought. S8 is full of traitors and rogues. I fought many wars. They built conspiracy theories on me and made people believe them, even though there was no proof. Again, I haven't asked for any proof or anything, but again, this is just one other individuals. And then I have, oh no, Amber just sent me that. Okay, cool. And then again, I asked a few other people here, and I'm going to read one because I did have a chance to speak to Crazy Canuck, the number 1 player here in Kingdom 8. I reached out to him on Discord. He was kind enough to give me a reply, and I'm just going to kind of paraphrase a little bit here from what I ended up hearing. And essentially this is saying, he was saying, it's kind of boring here right now. There was a small fight, he said, between us and FL8, which is now VAL. That was, I believe he was saying, the middle of Zone 2, that they pushed. I guess they had pushed them, and they were allies with OSM, so they were able to fight back. He said that's the only fight that they really had so far. OSM, NVRS, and Sexy are one big family. I would imagine with an alliance like Sexy in there, it sounds like a good move. And so there was, he said there was one more fight at the beginning of the server between Boss, which was the biggest alliance at the time, and GL. Boss took both Zone 1 passes, and GL tried to stop them, but failing and got pushed back from Boss, which is located in Kaltia. He said, I was the R4 at the time and then left because of differences in leadership and resurged to NVRS. After that, FL8 was the biggest alliance until they lost the war with NVRS, and NVRS has been the top since. After the fight, a lot of FL8 members either quit or joined NVRS. Some stayed in VAL. So just some short answers that he provided. And again, I appreciate, like I said to the others that I was reading in game, I really appreciate the context. Because again, I think it's not saying, I can't really say if I agree or disagree with anything I've heard, because I'm hearing from everyone's POV, right? Their personal perspective. So again, for me, being able just to reach out to as many people as we can, get their thoughts, and again, for those that are obviously kind enough to and willing to share with me, I do appreciate that too as well, because I think when you're looking at the community as a whole for Call of Dragons, it's nice to be able to go into kingdoms and kind of get the lay of the land for how is that kingdom differing from my kingdom? How does this kingdom different from the next two kingdoms that we talk about? And showing how there's different approaches and different ways that kingdoms can play out. And you'll oftentimes find that there's quite a few similarities between what can happen in one kingdom versus another, or, kingdom 1 all the way to kingdom 100, and they could almost mirror each other for how things played out. It's almost shocking and very interesting that I find. And it's one of the reasons I love being able to go and take a look at as many, if not all, kingdoms as possible and get to know the people there, even if it's for a short term or a long term period. Because I think being able to cover that from somewhat of a journalistic approach can be not only informative, but hopefully educational to players out there who are, even if you're just starting to play Kingdom Builders and you haven't maybe done too much, or you haven't played too many games, or this is your first, it's nice to get what I would consider to be a quality level of information and education coming into a game where it's, okay, now I know that, my kingdom isn't so to speak the way that every other kingdom does it. The way that management, the way that leadership operates, the way that members can react, whether you have rogues or not, or maybe some small internal factions form, or, you got some people that are just spreading propaganda. I mean, it is almost somewhat wild how much a kingdom really emulates that of a, like a club, so to speak, or, a high school, right? And just how kind of you have all these cliques here and there, or how you can have cliques or different groups, and how rumors spread, and, kind of the political landscape. It's actually very interesting how many similarities there are kind of between what you would almost consider a kind of dramatized high school environment or almost like a TV show, right? Kind of like a drama TV show for high school and or college. And then, you look at some of those similarities for how they can cross over to Kingdom Builders and Kingdoms. And obviously there's other ones, right? I mean, the way that countries are ran, there's also similarities there that you'll find. And even just kind of in our, in world governments, there's similarities. There's a lot across just kind of the spectrum of the world. But I always find it almost humorous to see how you can almost take a very simplified version from kind of a basic standpoint of similarities to something like a school, and then go all the way up to kind of the world of politics. And you'll still find similarities, right, for how kingdoms can play out. So anyways, small tangent that we ended up going on. But hopefully it at least shares a little bit of what we're seeing. Now, how and will S8 operate from here, from where they are currently? Now, where S8, Kingdom 8 is currently is that they're pretty much at peace, right? Like we've shown, and a few players have consistently alluded to, they're not at war right now, right? It is pretty peaceful, and they're basically just kind of free to develop. This, to me, kind of reminds a little bit of what we saw in Kingdom 4, which is funny because Kingdom 4 times 2, Kingdom 8, right? Who knows if anyone's interested in the math problem? Probably just me. But Kingdom 4 did a really good job before going into the first merged server with Kingdoms 1 through 4, where they kind of had a similar story to Kingdom 8. And they had a little bit of fighting in the beginning, and then pretty much weeded all that out and were able to focus purely on development, right? It's one of the reasons why Kingdom 4 pretty much, at least at one point in time, and a quality argument could be made, right? They were the strongest kingdom going into the merge server. I think it was them and then Kingdom 2, I believe, right? So it was kind of back and forth. But given when Kingdom 4 came out compared to when Kingdom 2 came out, to me, it really felt that Kingdom 4 just had, I think, higher, they were more unified overall, and that's why I think really I consider them to be the strongest kingdom going into the first merge server, because of multiple factors, not just on the power board, but how they unified, they came in together. They're still even a group right now, at least for the most part, I should say, and being able to kind of still just stick it out, the perseverance was just awesome. And has been, I should say, awesome to see. And because they were able to purely focus on development, right? They were able to raise the power level of their average player before going into the first season. This helped them, I'm sure, tremendously. And if Kingdom 8 is in a similar situation, my recommendation in Kingdom 8 is to, again, focus on development. Try and get everyone on the same page with how you're doing territory, with who's getting which behemoth layers. Really maximize on the individual player development and power progression between everyone in the kingdom, and you will be so much better off, or at least in a better position going into the first merged kingdom. So that's my advice. We'll see how things play out in Kingdom 8. If you're in Kingdom 8 and maybe you have a different story to tell from what I've heard, again, please let me know in the comments down below. If you're just a kind of spectator, people watcher, and you're looking at Kingdom 8 compared to a kingdom you played in, right, let me know what you think. Are you seeing some similarities? Are there some differences? I'd love to know anything and everything you got to share and want to comment on. So again, let me know down there. That's going to be it for me. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.